So if you are wondering why Hungarian wines are not more dominant on the export markets outside of Hungary, then I might have an explanation for you. The grape varieties themselves. I have a wine here, and I must honestly say I asked now like a Hungarian native speaker to really help me with the pronunciation of this grape variety, but I think I won't manage. Királyleányka. So this wine brings us back to the region of Eger. If you want to know about this region, 1.5 hours northeast of Budapest, then you can check the show notes where I actually have a 20 minutes travel report for you, and also like other grape varieties that I tasted from the region. It's a small little wine growing region, 1.5 hours northeast of Hungary, most popular for its red wine blends, the Egri Csillag, the so-called bull's blood blend, which allegedly in 1552 ended a Turkish siege because the Turks have seen the people of Eger drinking these heavy, bold red wines and were convinced these people are drinking the blood of bulls, and therefore they couldn't attack or conquer the city of Eger. But Eger is actually also famous for white wines because we have a beautiful like volcanic tuff structure here. Actually, when you are in the city of Eger, you will see the wine cellars like digged into this like tuff structure all around town, and also like a lot of limestone there and nice like day and night cooling contrast. So a perfect recipe for also bringing out like aromatic, fresh, lively and vibrant white wines. And this is also one of the reasons why in 2010, as kind of counterpart to the Egri Csillag, the Egri Csillag, the star of Eger white wine blend, was introduced, where Királyleányka actually plays a significant role because it is a less aromatic variety in that regard, a more structured, a more fresh variety that actually balances the more aromatic varieties that are going into the blend, like for mint, like harsh Levallois, and thereby adds a little bit of structure to the Egri Csillag blend. So how is this variety looking in the vineyard? It is a grape variety with very compact bunches, grape bunches with very, very small berries. So this already is a perfect recipe for disaster because it is thereby susceptible to botrytis and downy mildew, and the grape bunches and the canopy need like sufficient airflow in order for the berries to dry after rainfall, or if there's like too much humidity in the air. And at the same time, it is actually a grape variety when just like be left alone that produces medium to high yields. So yeah, on the one hand, a little bit like diva, a little bit complicated to grow. On the other hand, if it has the right conditions, it just goes amok and produces like lots of bunches, lots of grapes. So we can already understand why it for like a long time has been regarded as like typical right fresh summer wine, very easy, very cheap price point, mass product. But today, luckily, we have a bunch of producers, especially in the region of Eger, that are taking the grape variety by itself serious again. One of them, again, a little bit of a pronunciation issue, is Bolyki, one of the absolute flagship producers of the Eger wine region. I'm much looking forward to get their wine in the glass now. So we can see immediately here, oh, there's some color actually, there's a little bit of intensity, not totally light and fresh as I expected it. I expected something more like, I want to say, like with greenish reflections or very light and pale touch, but yeah, here's a little bit of like, I wouldn't even say like orange like characteristics, very interesting. This wine is fresh, it's lively. The first thing it like really cries to you is green apple, is summer, is freshness, is summer flowers, like sitting somewhere like at 28 degrees on a grass plain by a lovely river, and maybe like a little bit the freshness of the river is like giving you like a little bit of like a compensation for the summer heat, for the summer sun that is burning into your skin. So super beautiful touch. They're extremely citric, lemony in this regard, a little bit of like herbal connotation, some greenish, maybe even some, what is it, mint or eucalyptus perspective here, but really mostly on this like green apple, lemonish, fresh, salty mineral side. So yeah, definitely I can see why Jensis and her team, for example, in the Wine Grapes Encyclopedia describe it as a typical like easygoing summer wine. We have this immediately in the nose here. On the palate, the picture is not much different. When I opened the bottle earlier and shared it with somebody, this person said immediately to me, wow, this is a Schorle wine or like a spritz wine that you can easily like use for the like classic like German Schorle style wine, which really refreshes you on like hot summer days. And this is extremely what I get here. I get acidity, I get freshness, I get citric, green apple perspective, beautiful and fresh. I also get this like what I would call for the slight like carbonized hint that we sometimes have in steel tank driven German Riesling, especially comes from the Mosel or from the Nahe, where it's like a little bit nearly sparkling on the palate, fresh, lively, really driven by acidity and straightforward in the citric elements. Beautiful actually. Wonderful, easy, delightful, still like a very well made example What is funny about the producer here is really the labels. I mean, you can see they're extremely artistic, and that is what Bolyki is like really known for actually. The mascot of the winery is actually like a kind of rabbit who is like turning this like animal kingdom inside out. And we have here a zebra and a hippo with a crown on and a bat and some birds and fishes flying around. So these like very creative labels. This is how you recognize this winery in the shelf. And yeah, it's a kind of nice winery with a nice story, because if you visit them actually, they have a beautiful estate outside of Eger, like digged, as I said, like in one of those like tough volcanic tuff structures. Beautiful and modern. Some describe it as one of the most beautiful and yeah, architectonically interesting wineries of Hungary to visit. So definitely stop by when you are there. And the whole story of the Bolyki winery centers around the person János Bolyki. He's a first generation winemaker. I mean, this is like not totally unnatural, because Hungary, with this cut of like socialism and the rebuilding of the wine industry since 1990, actually provided ground for like many first generation winemakers that like achieved greatness very, very quickly. So János Bolyki started planting his first wines in 1998, made his first wine in 2003, and today he has like around 27 hectares, one of the bigger players in the Eger region. Good, but then Királyleányka also has an extremely interesting history when it comes to the genetics and unraveling where actually this grape is coming from. So there's quite some genetic confusion about Királyleányka, and this actually, like, thanks to the work of José Villamor, who is one of the co-authors of the Wine Grapes Encyclopedia, together with Francis Robinson and Master of Wine Julia Harding, who actually proved that the old hypothesis that Királyleányka is the same grape variety as Fetească Regală, which we know from Romania, and where I did a several tasting video at the Liliac winery a couple of weeks ago, that the old hypothesis has been same grape variety that came in the 1970s from Romania to Hungary, and then only, so to say, got two different passports, right? Királyleányka in the passport written, so to say, in Hungary, and Fetească Regală in Romania. However, genetic analysis showed that those grape varieties actually genetically have nothing to do with each other. The name itself still has this kind of royal connotation. Kira means king, and Leányka means maiden, so it is, so to say, the daughter of a king, if we translate it literally from Hungarian to English, and therefore the connection to Fetească Regală in Romania, Fetească Romanian for maiden and Regală for royal, also here the royal girl, so to say, made absolute sense, why people like have seen this maybe like belonging together. And when this genetic testing actually then became published, this whole like royal family tree around these grape varieties actually was in doubt, because Királyleányka and Fetească Regală were supposed to have the same father variety, which naturally has not been the case anymore, so those grape varieties lost their father, at least Királyleányka did, and up to today we allegedly don't know which is the father variety of Királyleányka, but we are very confident that Leányka, a variety that I discussed in another video tasted by Tos Ferenc and which also is allowed in the Egri Csillag blend, an important variety in the Eger region, is the mother variety for Királyleányka. So kind of an exciting story here around this grape variety, a little bit complex, diving into like the genetics, but also like exciting to see how a grape variety comes over from Romania in the 1970s. There's name confusion, they're mistaken for each other, and then genetic analysis at the end proves they have nothing to do with each other and a history totally of its own that partly remains unknown to this day.